This is breaking news.
Trump and Facebook's mutual decay. This afternoon, Meta announced that it will soon reinstate Donald Trump's account after a 2-year suspension from Facebook and Instagram. The former president was deplatformed after his posts were deemed to have incited, or at the very least encouraged, the January 6 insurrection. But according to Nick Clegg, the company's president of global affairs, the public safety risk that triggered the punishment has sufficiently receded. The poster-in-chief can post once again. Any story that involves Facebook, Donald Trump, and the context of a failed coup attempt is, by nature, controversial. Giving Trump this megaphone back for his 2024 campaign is particularly thorny. The former president has offered zero evidence that he changed during his social media exile. He may still use Facebook and Instagram to lie for reasons big and small, as well as to whip up partisan resentment and even violence, should it suit his needs. If anything, his posts on his own network, Truth Social, seem to suggest a man whose online engagement has become more erratic, angry, and conspiratorial. One report shows that he has amplified QAnon promoting accounts more than 400 times since launching the platform. And yet there is something underwhelming, stale, even, about the news. The story of Trump's deplatforming feels cryogenically frozen, a 2020 narrative that seems to have lost part of its relevance now that it's thought out. This is partly because close observers of the story anticipated today's development. In 2021, after a ruling from its independent oversight board, Facebook announced that Trump's suspension would be lifted after 2 years, external factors permitting. The company said at the time that it would assess instances of violence, restrictions on peaceful assembly and other markers of civil unrest. And some of the thunder was stolen by Twitter, which reinstated his account late last year, although Trump hasn't resumed posting there. There is also the mutual decay of both Trump and Facebook. Each thrives by hijacking attention and monetizing outrage, and they've benefited each other. The Trump campaign spent millions of dollars on more than 289,000 Facebook ads over the span of just a few months in 2020, according to an analysis by The Markup. But lately, both appear to have lost the juice. Many people still support Trump, and many people still use Facebook products, but the shine is gone, and that matters. Facebook's ad business was kneecapped last year by changes Apple made to limit tracking on its devices. It faces steep competition from insurgent apps such as TikTok. And there is a sense, looking at the company's transparency reports, which detail the most popular content on its platform, that Facebook has become a vast wasteland of recycled memes and spammy clickbait. Meanwhile, Trump's 2024 campaign has been, to date, almost non-existent. His kickoff announcement was roundly mocked as low energy, and some cable news networks didn't bother to air it in full. Trump and his team have been sloppy and clearly grasping for relevance. And although I wouldn't downplay the former president's chances in the 2024 contest, he certainly doesn't appear as invincible in primary politics as he once did. In December, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis beat Trump 52 to 38% in a hypothetical matchup among likely Republican voters. Electoral uncertainties aside, there's the plain fact that some around Trump have suggested the man is diminished. He has retreated to the golf course and to Mar-a-Lago. His world has gotten much smaller. His world is so small, one Trump advisor told New York Magazine in December. None of this negates the possibility that Trump could return to Facebook and Instagram and abuse his power by posting QAnon conspiracy theories and attempting to sow chaos. Trump's unpredictability has always been part of his power, and the wild swings of the tech industry over the past several months mean everyone should brace for the unexpected. Far-right extremism is still a threat across the internet. But it's not clear that this reinstatement will matter much. In his announcement, Clegg argued that the risk to public safety has changed in recent years. He's right, but not just because Trump doesn't have executive power anymore. What Clegg can't admit is that there is a second reason the risk profile has changed. Facebook's own influence and reputation have receded as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene aims to be Trump's VP pick in 2024. She sees herself on the short list for Trump's VP, said former Trump aide Steve Bannon, who has spoken with Greene. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, is angling to be Donald Trump's running mate in 2024, according to two people who have spoken to the firebrand second-term congresswoman about her ambitions. This is no shrinking violet. She's ambitious, she's not shy about that, nor should she be, said Steve Bannon, the former top Trump aide who hosts the Bannon's War Room podcast, on which Greene has been a guest. She sees herself on the short list for Trump's VP. Paraphrasing Cokie Roberts, when MTG looks in the mirror she sees a potential president smiling back, he added in an interview, referring to Roberts, the late political reporter who worked for NPR, ABC News, and other outlets. A second source who has advised Green said her whole vision is to be vice president. The source, who has ties to Trump and spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe private conversations, said he also believes Green would be on Trump's short list. That goal is at the heart of Green's recent efforts to rebrand herself as a politician who can stand astride the divide between the party's hardliners and its establishment wing, the sources said. It also helps explain why she threw herself into helping elect Representative Kevin McCarthy, Republican California, Speaker of the House after the midterm elections and took assignments on two committees, Homeland Security and Oversight and Accountability, where she can participate in high-profile investigations of President Joe Biden's administration. McCarthy also chose her to be part of the panel investigating how the government handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Her push for McCarthy alienated some of her allies in the House Freedom Caucus and like-minded conservative activists, but that was a calculated risk, Bannon said. She's both strategic and disciplined, she made a power move, knowing it would run up hard against her most ardent crew, he said. She was prepared to take the intense heat/hatred short-term for the long-term goal of being a player. Trump has not publicly given any indication that he is seriously considering a vice presidential pick this early in the process, and aides did not respond to inquiries about Green's chances of ending up on a Trump ticket. Congresswoman Green is laser-focused on serving the people of Northwest Georgia on her new committees in the GOP majority, Green spokesman Nick Dyer said by text message. Her work on oversight, Homeland Security, and the COVID Select Committee is her priority and people shouldn't get wrapped up into rumors. Trump and his two-time running mate, former Vice President Mike Pence, had a falling out over Pence's pass at trying to overturn their 2020 defeat and Trump's refusal to immediately call off supporters who ransacked the Capitol, searched for Pence and chanted for him to be hanged on January 6, 2021. Trump, the only announced 2024 candidate for president in either party, has struggled to get his campaign off the ground since it launched in November. He plans to travel Saturday to New Hampshire and South Carolina, two early primary states, and he remains the favorite to win the GOP nomination in national polling. Over the course of two campaigns for Congress and a little more than 2 years in the House, Green has become one of the chamber's most prodigious money raisers, one of its highest-profile figures and a pariah to many of her colleagues. In the 2022 midterm election cycle, Green collected just short of $12.5 million, placing her in the top 10 of all House candidates, according to the Center for Responsive Politics' Open Secrets tally. Her penchant for bombastic rhetoric is at the root of both her superior fundraising skills and her alienation of fellow lawmakers. Trump voters have reveled in her ability to agitate the Washington establishment and progressives. But her tolerance for violent rhetoric about Representative Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California, who was House Speaker during Green's first term, and her embrace of conspiracy theories, involving supposed Jewish space lasers starting a California wildfire and Muslim congresswomen's not being legitimately sworn in, were too extreme for some lawmakers in both parties. In February 2021, the House, then controlled by Democrats, voted to remove Green from legislative committees as punishment for conduct she has exhibited that fellow lawmakers found detrimental to the reputation of Congress. 11 Republican moderates joined all of the Democrats in voting to strip her of seats on the Budget Committee and the Education and Labor Committee. McCarthy stood by Green at the time, facilitating the development of a political alliance. With Republicans having taken control of Congress this month, the McCarthy-led GOP steering committee placed Green on two panels that will give her a platform to attack Biden, who is expected to seek re-election.